Saturday night. Fuck, I'd forgotten how good it felt to socialize. There was something indescribably alluring about turning off your brain for a couple of hours and just cutting loose. Like so much else, it had been years since I'd checked my problems at the door and allowed myself to escape from reality for a while. And I hadn't even made my way to the door yet. The line outside Lizzie's stretched across the lot and around the block. I'd had the good sense to get there early, but there were still a fair number of patrons ahead of me waiting to get in. I was tempted to cut to the front of the line and stride past Rita with a subtle nod, just as I used to do back when I still had the rep to pull off such a daring move. But I stayed put. I had no way of knowing if Rita remembered who I was. Judy, however. I checked the time. 10 past 8. I scanned the lot, hoping to spot them. Nothing. The line shuffled forward. I glanced at my holo again and pulled up Judy's last message. 8 it is. Gotta admit, I'm both nervous and excited to go back there. We'll meet you at the lot outside. Grab us a spot in line. Nope. Not a chance in hell I'd misinterpreted or mistaken something. We'd agreed to meet at 8 in the lot, and here I was, standing around in the lot after 8, all by my lonesome. Damn it. At least I didn't look out of place. I had opted for another thrift store ensemble, though I felt much more at home in the silver dress I was wearing than I had in that leather getup the night before. Still looked sluttier than I would have liked, but compared to some of the other patrons lurking about, I was still on the conservative end, and this time I wasn't wearing my ex's necklace. A win all around. The line shuffled forward again. It was moving at a good pace. If Judy didn't get here soon, I'd have to face Rita by myself. That alone didn't worry me. We'd only bumped into each other a couple of times, and the odds that Lizzie's resident bouncer would remember me were remote at best. But she would remember Judy. I was sure of it. And that did worry me. I knew very little about how things between Judy and the Mox had gone down, but what I could infer didn't paint a pretty picture. She'd scrubbed off her Mox ink like it was dirt and had apparently left them in the lurch with little to no warning. Not a big deal for a random enforcer. But Judy hadn't been muscle. She'd been financing. Her work, and all the Yetis it pulled in, were a big reason why the Mogs had been able to keep pace with the more well-armed and well-connected rivals. And while the Mogs weren't renowned for holding grudges, that didn't mean they might not have carved out an exception for Judy. All of which I failed to take into account when I blanked earlier and suggested Lizzie's as a place to hang out at. Fucking idiot. V. I turned around to see Judy and Bianca racing across the street. A tidal wave of relief crashed over me. While the whole Rita Mox situation concerned me, the prospect of standing around all by myself, surrounded by hundreds of baked clubbers, downright terrified me. Hey! I called out, waving them over much to the displeasure of the people standing in line behind me. Was starting to worry. It's my fault, Judy gasped as she came to a stop next to me. Must have changed 3 or 4 times before I settled on this. You like? As if she were actually asking. She knew damn well I liked. How could I not? She'd straddled the line perfectly between sexy and sophisticated. Her dress shimmered with an alluring iridescence that seemed to catch the light as though she were clad in chrome and not fabric. Equally impressive was how it managed to accent her curves without appearing scandalous. exposing only her shoulders and a modest neckline. In fact, if not for the deep cut down the back, which stretched all the way to the top of her ass, it would almost be considered modest. Almost. As for the woman at her side, damn it. My love-hate relationship with Bianca continued to evolve. There was no denying that she was gorgeous. Gold was definitely her color, as was evident by the way the glittering fabric of her dress seemed to blend seamlessly into her skin. But something about the way she presented herself felt off, like she didn't quite know how to wear it. It was a tiny detail, one hardly worth noticing, especially seeing as how she'd probably thought the exact same thing about me the night before. Looking good, I sputtered. Both of you. Thank you. Bianca smiled through gritted teeth. Our eyes drifted towards the door. There were only a few others ahead of us now, regulars judging from how quickly they were being ushered through. I could feel the dull beat of music reverberating in my bones. Strange. It seemed to be pulsing in perfect sync with the clock, counting down the seconds as they ticked by. Did you get a chance to eat? I asked. Grabbed a bite from Tom's. Judy smiled and gave Bianca a playful nudge. Introduced B to her first authentic NC-style scop dog. Shit's nasty, Bianca spat, her lips curling in disgust. It's not nasty. You're just used to that kibble-infused slop they serve back in Pittsburgh. I don't know, Jude, I said, sensing an opportunity to get on Bianca's good side. Think B's right. Bianca smiled once again, only this time, it didn't feel forced or only for my benefit. See? She shot back at Judy, giving her a nudge of her own. Fuck you both. But Judy's smile was all the evidence I needed to know that I'd succeeded at my first attempt to form a genuine friendship with them. Still felt odd, thinking of them like that. Friends. But not in a bad way. It would just take some getting used to. With a little time and effort, we could become good friends. Great friends, even. We could keep in touch, maybe even visit one another every so often. But you know who's gonna be tucking her in at night, don't you? I'll give you a hint. It's a letter that rhymes with V. I ignored the voice in my head and turned my attention to Rita. She was giving the couple ahead of us the customary preamble. No drugs, no touching, no coming on the floor and not cleaning it up afterwards. Couldn't help but chuckle under my breath. It was nice to see someone who was just as stuck in the past as I was. She'd let her hair down, finally, but it remained that same stubborn shade of purple she'd always preferred, perfectly complementing the accents on her cybernetic arms. Nothing else about her seemed to have changed. She still had that glossy, real skin look to her, the kind that made you want to run a finger across her skin as you would a new car. Large Mox tattoos stamped just above her tits, spikes on the forearms. Yep, that was Rita Wheeler, all right. She waved the couple ahead of us through the door. I stepped forward and drew a nervous breath. Evening, dolls. Let's go over the house. Well, fuck me up the ass and call me Karen. Is that you, Judy? Sure is. Holy shit. She shifted her gaze to me. And T, right? V, I corrected, a smile tugging at my lips. God damn. The fuck are you two doing here? Thought you both jetted out of NC. Wife and I are in town for biz, Judy explained. Thought we'd swing by and see what's cooking with the Mox. Rita's eyes nearly bugged out of her skull. Wife? You two are married? Holy shitballs! I thought V ditched you. Oh my fucking god. Rita, you fucking gonk. I wanted nothing more than to run away and hide in the deepest, darkest corner of NC, Dogville perhaps, or maybe the Badlands. Still plenty of coyotes out there. But all I could do was stand there like an idiot and wait for Judy to set the record straight. Actually, this is my wife, Bianca. Judy gestured towards Bianca, who, oddly enough, looked just as mortified as I did. B, this is Rita. Bianca gave her a subtle wave, more than I could muster up. Oh, Rita said plainly, allowing herself plenty of time to size Bianca up. P, huh? And V. Well, no one ever accused me of being subtle. It's nice to meet you, doll. Same. You want to move along, please? A loud voice barked from the back of the line. Rita glanced over our shoulders. Best turn down your vocal processor, choom, before I do it for you. Whoever had opened their mouth didn't press their luck. Wise move. Despite her slender frame, Rita hadn't become a staple of Lizzie's by accident. Her eyes found their way back to us. I was about to ask if we could go in and escape the uncomfortable spot she'd put us all in when Judy spoke up. So what's the sitch? Susie still lining her pockets, same as always? Wouldn't be Lizzie's if she weren't. Listen, I gotta keep the line moving, but I'll try to track you down later. Would love to... Rita's voice trailed off and her eyes narrowed into slits. Did you get your ink erased? I tensed up instinctively. Not that there was anything I could do if things suddenly went south. Rita could strangle the life out of me if she wanted to. Judy too, probably. And something in the back of my mind told me that Bianca couldn't put up much of a fight either. Sure did, Judy said, as if it were nothing to be concerned about. Why? That gonna be a problem? Fortunately, Rita shook her head. It's not a problem for me, just better hope Susie stays in the back. She's still got a bug up her ass from how things went down between you two. Great, Judy groaned, taking Bianca by the arm. Come on, let's grab a drink. Once again, I felt like the living embodiment of a third wheel as I trailed behind them. Like Rita, Lizzie's hadn't changed much over the last 2 years. The place was still brimming with BD freaks and the bar was packed shoulder to shoulder, same as always. A few had taken to the dance floor, but it would at least be another hour or two before the liquor kicked in and the club jumped into overdrive. Even the smell managed to evoke memories of past visits. By all accounts, it was the same old Lizzie's I'd always known. Except it wasn't. Judy wasn't waiting for me in her den downstairs. She was walking ahead of me, with her wife by her side. And I wasn't cutting through the crowd with an iron tucked away in my jacket and a gig to get to. I was passing through their wake, hoping the crowd didn't close in around me. I felt lost, as directionless as I'd been after waking from that coma. What was I doing? Judy used her diminutive size to her advantage and squeezed her way towards the bar. She waved down the bartender, a man I recognized even though I couldn't remember his name, who did a double take before cracking a smile. Judy Alvarez. Didn't think you'd step back through those doors ever again. It's good seeing you again, Mateo, Judy beamed. Mateo finished preparing the drink he'd been working on and made his way over to us. He had the look of a man you could trust with anything, just as a bartender should. He leaned across the bar and, for a moment, I thought he was going to pull Judy into a hug, but instead, he simply took up a relaxed posture, hands on the bar top, still smiling back at us. Same. It's been a long time. His eyes darted between me and Bianca. See, you brought some trouble with you. Judy went through the same song and dance she'd given earlier, though this time she was quick to introduce Bianca first, which I was perfectly fine with. None of us wanted a repeat of the debacle with Rita. As luck would have it, Mateo remembered my name even if he didn't remember my face. Made sense. Bouncers remembered faces, bartenders remembered names. Once the formalities were out of the way, Mateo straightened up. What can I get you to start? Judy didn't waste a second. Set us up with a round of cum shots. Bianca's head snapped so fast I thought it would spin off and go tumbling onto the dance floor. But Judy only smiled as Mateo lined up a trio of shot glasses and grabbed a bottle of Irish cream off the shelf. He filled each glass to the brim, twisting the bottle elaborately at the very end, drawing tiny penises onto the liquid. Satisfied, he placed the bottle back and returned to tending the bar. Judy grabbed the shots, being careful not to spill, and handed them to us. I had to stifle a laugh as Bianca regarded the glass as if it were a vial of actual spunk. So, what should we drink to? Judy asked. The words blurted out of my mouth as though they'd been there all along. To us. Judy smiled, as did Bianca. We raised our glasses into the air and clanked them together. To us, Jude said before adding, friends. I slammed the shot back, hoping the liquor would burn away the lump starting to creep its way into my throat. We were friends at last. And I couldn't be any sadder about that.